Really what this whole journey's been about, trying to find a sound that just makes me feel comfortable with myself. I realised I need to take these two people that I think I am, Rachel, who, you know, studied really hard at school, tried really hard, you know, to be a good daughter or whatever, to Rachel who wants to make music, who wants to go out and be her own person, and just trying to put those into one person. I knew that I had to make music that emulated that realization, and like that's really what LVRA is about. So I am performing at the Scottish Alternative Music Awards. Do you think it's better to end that like flat, or do you think it's better to like take the bass off and then run it out?
Or you just stop it before?
Or I just go. Do you like the way that it feels?
No. Other way better.
Really?
Yeah, because it builds up the ending. Like as all the bass starts to come out, you know it's about to end, so it feels way more epic.
Okay, got you. What's a traditional LVRA show?
Absolutely mental.
Usually we have like a good body of people that are just like this, and I see them. Like I am like that gives me energy because I definitely feed off that from other people. So a LVRA set is like probably shouting the last song because I'm so like energetic and I have so much that I want to get out of me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the last song, so I need to like put everything into it. So yeah. Okay, I think it's good. I think we're good. Okay, pack up.
Cool.
I don't really have the pressure of having to do anything when I'm at home. This is like coming to the countryside for me. My mom has been cooking. Mom, hi.
Oh, hi, Mom.
So we've got like baos, I think. What have you made, Mom?
包子.
包子. These are homemade 包子. What's inside them? Pork? Or is there veg?
Vegetable is the top one.
Okay,
Bottom
cool.
is the meat.
I mean, clearly, my parents are Chinese. I was actually born in Edinburgh, and yeah, grew up there. I've recently moved to London. I mean, I went to uni. I was at uni at Oxford for 3 years, and then moved to London, and then been living in London for like 9 months now. I think growing up with first-gen parents, there's a lot of involvement. I think my parents were very involved in my life and wanted me to do well. And obviously, my parents had a very different upbringing to me. They grew up in China when it was still, you know, communist, and they have very different ideas of like what someone like my age would want in life. You know, they're all about stability and building yourself up, which is something that obviously I'd want, but I think my life's just a bit different. I grew up in Edinburgh.
When did you notice that Rachel was into music?
When she was young, she can sing every single ABBA song.
Oh yeah, I still can.
Yeah,
I can still sing every
because
ABBA
Mom
song.
likes it. Rachel always can sing, and she has the first thing. She was in called it JFAT, which is the Juniper Green Primary School.
Oh yeah, that talent competition,
yeah,
school
the
talent
talent
competition. And I cried on stage, by the way.
She broke your throne and she cut your hair.
I think when I went through school, I was like, you know, I always got along with my mates. I always like had friends with just like, you know, people from Edinburgh, and a lot of them were white, and I was like, yeah, I'm just like everyone else, you know what I mean? And then I think it was just really when I got to uni, I realized like I'm really Chinese, and not just do I feel really Chinese, but like other people are going to also see those differences in me, regardless of how I feel about myself. There's a lot of things in my life, in my family life, that I feel like you can only relate to if that person has been brought up, for instance, from like a first-gen immigrant family. Feeling understood on that level is something that I didn't even experience really until I went to uni. This is my matriculation. Look at him, baby. So I studied politics, philosophy and economics at Oxford. And then I kind of like was doing the subject, and I was surrounded by like all these incredibly intelligent people, and I mean, I care about these subjects and I find them interesting, but like I realize like I'm not an academic. I'm not going to dedicate my life to like studying these things. So I started like investing a lot of time into music and writing basically by myself in my room, like producing for hours and hours and hours on end. And that's where I really wrote my first EP. Music was like my way of discovering myself, because it was the thing that no one was making me do, no one was asking me to do. I was just purely doing it for myself. That was just my way of like feeling like I was in control of what I liked and that I was actually doing something about it. I think in the first EP it was explicitly obvious I wanted to use traditional Chinese samples in my production because of the way in which I had kind of tried to repress that part of me for so long. I did quite a bit of traveling in China by myself, connecting with my heritage. So for me, having those traditional samples along with the visuals, it was all about creating this immersive love and appreciation of like China and Chinese culture, really.
Rachel's music from her first few songs and now she changed a lot. Obviously her music now, it is not for my generation, but now it is more like disco music and
Music, yeah.
for people to dance.
I wrote the first EP very much for myself, whereas this next EP, because people had reacted to the stuff that I'd done previously, I was like, well, really what I enjoy about music is that it makes people feel good. Like, I just let the music decide how I'm gonna move and act, and I don't care about anything else or how stupid I look while I'm dancing. That's the feeling that I wanted to give to other people, because that's the feeling that I get that is so valuable. Having gone through this phase of feeling a bit of like a guilt that I had repressed so much about my family or my culture, whatever, it was just be like, okay, actually, you know what? Like you are this person. You're like two heads in one person. You just have to deal with that, and that's going to be you, and you should embrace that and you should love that. So yeah, there's a lot of progression, I guess, in my eyes, between those two EPs. So we are backstage in the green room at the Samas. I'm probably going on in like half an hour. Yeah. As long as sound comes out of the speakers and my vocals are audible, like that's good enough for me. Like, it just needs to happen. This is all about like just trying to feel the most me that I possibly can. And it's a journey, right? Like you'll never get exactly there, but at least I feel like I'm getting closer. Lewis just like feels like the most authentic version of myself that I can be. She has given me so much, and like I am also influencing her.